So you've heard from our CEO, Brent Klein, about why we're in this business. We wanted to facilitate life experience for people. The best life experiences are those that are affordable, they're spent with loved ones, and they involve adventure and travel. So we need to create a van that fit that. So we set out to create a functional, modular, durable, affordable, customizable, and intentionally designed adventure van. So what does all of that actually mean? Grab your pens and your notepads, and we're gonna dig into each of these. So the first thing in everyone's mind is, okay, yes, you have a great van, but how much does it actually cost? We were super intentional about this portion of our van. Here are 6 ways where we really keep the cost down for our builds. The first one is going to be that we buy wholesale and we buy bulk. What that means is we buy our vans wholesale because we're a fleet company, so we can save a lot of money on that on the front end. But what we also do is we buy in bulk. So we've gone through and done a lot of research on what the best product is, and we go and buy that in bulk, which allows us to cut the costs on each product, which cuts the cost for the customer as well. The second is gonna be that we build on off-lease vans typically. We can do new and we can even go older, but what we like to do is build on vans with about 15,000 miles and about a year old. Because we're cutting off that new car price, we all know how quickly the van depreciates as soon as you drive it new off the lot. And so we like to build on off-lease vans to where you're not having that new car depreciation happen as soon as you drive it away from our lot. The third is going to be that we can provide financing. You can do vehicle financing, but if you're wanting to keep your monthly payment pretty low, you can actually go RV financing on our builds as well. The fourth is going to be we can take trade-ins. So you can trade in a car, you can trade in trailers. We've had people trade in horses before. We'll take the trade-ins and put it toward the price of your van. The fifth is gonna be that because our vans are so modular and so functional that we're about to talk about, you can use your van for a lot of different things. Rather than having a truck and also having a passenger van and also having a camper, you can actually consolidate it all into one van itself, which means you can get rid of something. And lastly, we have a streamlined build process. We do this all day, every day, and we've got it down to a science to where we can really cut down the man hours, which means that you're not paying as much for labor fees. Next is durability. The reality is you guys are gonna use the crap out of your vans. So we needed to make a vehicle that was going to stand the test of your adventures and also stand the test of time. So there's really 4 points to us making the vans durable. First is using marine grade material. Essentially, the materials that we're putting in here are going to be waterproof and moisture resistant. One of those is vinyl. So rather than putting carpet on the flooring that soaks in moisture and it also gets super dirty and really hard to clean, we utilize vinyl, which is waterproof and it's so easy to clean, just literally wiping it down. It's also a lot tougher. Third, you're looking at aluminum versus wood. So a lot of people say, well, crap, I'm missing out on this aesthetic with wood. It no longer looks homey, doesn't look cozy, but the reality is you can add those aesthetic touches on later rather than starting with the form. We like the aluminum because 1, it's way lighter than wood. 2, it's marine grade, so it's not gonna absorb the moisture. Not necessarily even spills, but people don't realize that even as you're traveling to different locations across the country with different humidity and temperature levels, your wood is going to expand and contract. And when it does so, it's getting musty, it's getting moldy, and it's also gonna start rattling loose. That's when you start to get vans that are really noisy driving down the road. So aluminum versus wood, and then lastly, you've got moisture repelling insulation. As your van's heating up and cooling down, you're automatically gonna have condensation, and so we use insulation that doesn't absorb that moisture. One of the biggest aspects about what makes our van special is the modularity and versatility. So the idea is that you've got a van that you can design the way that you need it to depending on what your needs and your wants are. But the idea is also that you're not fixed with one setup, that you can move things around as you need to or take things out. So we've got 4 bullets that kind of talk through that. The first is the fact that we build on a passenger van. Whereas most camper vans are gonna be built on a cargo chassis, we actually start with the passenger van because you get so much with the passenger van and you're not really paying that much more. First, you get rear AC and heat that's already ductwork into the van. So if you're using the van as a passenger hauler, which most people are, even if you're trying to sleep 4 in there, you still got rear AC and heat when your car's just turned on. You've also got rear side curtains. So whenever, if you were to be in an accident or whatever, those would pop down over the windows for safety. You've also got natural lighting back there. So you've got natural lighting that you can cover up for privacy, or if you want to block out the light, or for insulation, but you have natural lighting if you want it. The biggest thing here is the fact that you have safety warranted seats. You've got 3-point seat belts that have been safety warranted from the factory. And so you've got the ability of putting seats in there, but also taking the seats out if you don't need those seats in there. The second is the fact that we utilize T-Track. What T-Track is it's aluminum. It's the aluminum that we utilize that we talked about earlier, but it's actually got a grooving in it that allows you to mount stuff literally wherever, which allows us to have modular components. So let's say you have a hanging cabinet. Maybe you have 3 hanging cabinets, but you need to take those out to make space for more stuff. You can do that. Or let's say you have a kitchen pot in there because you want to be cooking, but the next weekend you need to throw more seats in there to take your family on a trip. You can pop that kitchen pot out really quick, throw more seats in there, and you're ready to go. A lot of the van has modular components. And lastly, our vans are customizable. From the very beginning, when you're designing your van, you can pick and choose the different things that you want to have in your van, depending on what your needs are, depending on what you want. You can customize the exterior with aesthetic things like wraps or roof racks or whatever. You can design those things. And also on the interior, you can pick and choose those things that you want, like having wood grain finish. Without utilizing wood, you can still have wood grain finish to kind of add that homey, cozy feeling on the inside. Lastly, on customizable is the fact that with our T-Track system, the way that we build our van, we actually give DIY-minded people the ability to utilize their creative flow and customize the van the way that they need to. So ordering things online, because of the T-Track system, you can easily implement kind of your own products and your own options into the build, even after you pick the van up. Lastly, our vans are intentionally designed. We put a lot of money and a lot of time into figuring out how to best make this product on a quality standpoint, but also at a price standpoint. One of the main things is the way that we do our electrical system. We've put a lot of money and research into that. What we wanted was to create a system that if you had an issue or you had trouble from afar, rather than having to drive to Missouri, have us tear into everything, try to figure out how to rewire or cut wire and resolder, what we utilize is VanDOit connectors. In layman's terms, what that essentially means is that it's more of a plug-and-play system. So rather than you having to drive to Missouri, let's say if you're on the east or the west coast or even 4 or 5 hours away, you can call us over the phone and we can run you through a series of diagnostics just over the phone. Because utilizing VanDOit connectors, it's more of a plug-and-play system, which also goes in with color coding wires and labeled harnesses. You can go in and we can tell you, okay, if there's an issue with your air conditioner, then we can say, hey, it's actually this color wire, let's try this. No, let's try this, and figure out what's going on with your system rather than you having to come here to do so. Third is we actually pre-wire everything to where if, let's say at first you didn't want to put solar panels on your roof. Well, we can actually pre-wire that to where if down the road you're like, okay, I actually do want some off-grid power with solar panels, we can add that on and it's not a huge expenditure. Fourth, we've done a lot to streamline our process, which we've talked about a little bit. We use lasers, we use water jets, we use CNC machines and a lot of other means in order to cut costs and also to cut time and get the product that we want as well. Lastly, which we've talked about this, but we can't talk about this one enough, our vans are super modular, meaning you can take a van with one design and move it around to be able to fit your needs from trip to trip or season to season, and this is huge. So you've listened to all of this and you've decided that you like our why, you like why we're building our vans, you like how we're building our vans and the philosophy on how we do so. And now in your mind you're thinking, okay, what's next in this process? How do I figure out pricing? How do I figure out what I should have on my van? And when can I actually get into a van? Stay tuned, oh adventurous ones, the spec out process is next.